All right, welcome to this episode of JB&A Today. I'm your host, Nick Smith, and we're live at the SLS in Las Vegas for NAB, which starts tomorrow, but we're here today to talk about some of the new releases. Now, with me today is Jan from Cinegy. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're I couldn't ask for a higher level person here. This is your company.
Well, you can always have a higher entity, which is my wife. Yeah.
That's fair.
So, closest thing to God.
Fair enough.
And then we have a little one, I call him the ultimate boss.
How old?
He's now 4.5.
Nice.
Running on straight onto 14, I'd say.
Yeah, that's about the way it goes. I've got a 1-year-old next week, or at the end of this week.
Yeah.
Will be 1, and that's about the same story.
Yeah.
And she runs the show.
Yeah, of course he does.
Absolutely.
Or she does, in my case.
Yeah, that's mine as well. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Cinegy. For the audiences who aren't aware of you guys, give me the bullet list. What does Cinegy do?
Well, we are a software company, so we never touch hardware. We work with a number of partners out there, of course, to integrate their hardware products, but we still basically are a software-only company, and we have basically coined the phrase software-defined television.
Nice.
This has happened in audio, this has happened in other areas already quite some time ago. The compute power is good enough to basically take even the most advanced features that you could previously only implement in hardware and bring them down now to a software stack that you can combine, recombine. As long as you have enough compute power, you can really do basically anything you want. 1 channel, 2 channel, SD, HD, 4K, and even now soon 8K.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how fast 8K adoption happens, especially at the production level. The cameras, once the cameras hit, we know the shooters will want them.
Of course,
they'll want the biggest lens they can get on it.
Yeah, it's always the Joneses started it, and if the Joneses have it, you must have it. It's competitive.
Now, specifically though, from a software level, you're doing ingest and playout and NRCS. So, a client could build a complete newsroom system off of your solution stack.
We have customers that build an entire network based on our stuff. Anything from ingest to playout, dozens of channels of international channels broadcasting 24/7. You can do it, but we also just as well integrate with the existing players out there, existing newsrooms, existing MAM systems, archive systems. We all have all of it ourselves, but it's very rare that you find a greenfield site where you can say, buy it all, brew my Kool-Aid in license, and so on and so forth. But it's a mix of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, but one of my favorite things. So I've been going to IBC for years, and it's my favorite show of all of them because it's just the pace is wonderful. But I love the hallway leading up to your booth because the moniker is Skull and Crossbones with SDI Must Die.
Yeah, we by popular request have kind of removed that because also the journey from SDI to IP wasn't necessarily the smoothest either. And that's still a little bit see where that leads us. But we keep our options really open, and next to, of course, all the SMPTE labeled stuff, we now, this show, finally also say NDI is too big to ignore. So all our products get released now with NDI support. And it's
that's
great.
A huge announcement.
Yes.
So because a lot of my partners are tying on to NDI, the camera manufacturers, even switchers from other companies are pulling in NDI. So all of Cinegy's product line is now NDI aware.
Fully.
Input and output?
Input and output, playout, ingest, anything. And we also just really going in there with basically where the NDI price range, of course, is interesting because it really lowers the cost of entry. And we said that's also a great way then to package up some of our products differently. And we're announcing Cinegy Solo, Duo, and Quad at this show. And then, of course, they have to have a catchphrase. And our catchphrase now is 4K for less than 1K. And that's for playout and recording in one package. You can start at $999, and of course NDI support included for both input and output.
And what's the CPU load to pull that off?
Well, thanks to NDI, if you do NDI based or SDI based, the CPU load is actually quite low.
Nice.
On a, say, 10-core system with a decent graphics card, you can do 4 HD channels.
It's impressive. That's nice. Now, I appreciate what NDI is doing for the industry. Because you mentioned it, on the SMPTE spec, just getting into a 10 gig infrastructure, let alone if you're handling multiple channels and need to get to 50 or 100, that becomes very pricey. So NDI really lowers the bar to allow us to do more.
You see, I sat on some of these bodies until I left in disgust, and the problem is, it is not a complete story. Yeah? Even if you have the money to buy into 10G, 40G, and so on and so forth, take 2 different vendors' boxes and have them talk to each other. If you're lucky, it'll work, and most chances are that it won't. And after you spend all that money, it's basically, that's kind of insult.
You won't
to
know
injury.
until it happens.
Yes. So they still have to do their homework. Maybe they'll play catch up. I think NDI has a sufficient lead here now. Even if you say this is not for you, the large broadcast enterprise vendor, the rest of the world is going to be pretty happy with it.
Yeah. No, but what I like about the Cinegy story is you do have all those solutions, right? So if somebody just wants playout,
they can just get playout. They just want capture. They want that integrated with Avid. Here you go. You just want to do ProRes. Here you go. We have our own codec. That's, by the way, another story that we are showing for quite some time, and that gains adoption also in the industry, which we're now releasing at this show. We had it for Adobe on Windows for quite a while, but now we're releasing the version for Mac as well. And that allows you to do 8K editing on a laptop and full 60p, 10-bit on a laptop. I can break out, if you want, my XPS 15 from 2 years ago, and I'll gladly do you full multi-stream 8K editing on a laptop.
It's an amazing codec.
Yes.
All right. So now is that one's why, as far as your software stack, that's built into all your software?
That's built into our software stack, and we're talking to loads of other industry partners about adopting that as well. It's not going to replace what you have coming out of your camera, but if you want to do 8K and you want to do work with XAVC, ProRes, and now announced at this show, ProRes RAW and so forth, whatever that is, we're going to see. It still will require a good enough grunt on your CPU to make that happen. And yes, buy a big enough a hammer and you can do it. Our secret is use the graphics card within your machine, and we will scale nicely with the power of your graphics. And I can do multiple 8K streams and still be using, not even touching the CPU.
Now, what's your target for that? Are you looking to integrate with the editorial to give them a better editorial experience, or are you thinking this is more of the infrastructure for passing off data?
It's everything. I mean, quite frankly, I don't know where the journey goes. The edit and post people were the first people that were, of course, interested in it. Acquisition is a big topic. We have a number of companies that do especially high-speed, high-res recording, 4K at 500 frames per second for us. That's easy peasy. Yeah. But also, strangely enough, people that do on the big display AV space with multiple projectors that do, if you then add up how many pixels they have to project together, your 8K is just the beginning.
Oh yeah. No, you get into the large format displays, the big video walls, that's
where I have like 6-7 partners already in that space that use our stuff.
That's amazing. All right, so the update to your codec, the addition of NDI, this new solo quad project. I mean, you guys have a lot this year.
Yes.
Okay, so the booth is on the show floor.
Yes, SL12116.
So SL12116, all right, that's exciting. Any other big announcements? Or, I mean, that was a lot already.
That's a lot already, and I'd like to focus on that. I mean, I could walk you through my entire product range, but be here all day.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't have time for that one today. All right, well, listen, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate having you here. All right, so you've got time to see Cinegy the rest of the day here at our booth to get a snapshot of these, or make it out to NAB, check them out on the show floor, and see all these amazing announcements in person. All right, this has been JB&A Today Live Edition. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you very much.